Mr. Chairman, I boast no status as an authority by reason of special skill, training, or specialty on vaping or harm reduction. What I do have is considerable knowledge of the industry and being one of the founders of the Canadian Vaping Association. We have a considered opinion about the industry, and we advocate the views and aspirations of hundreds of thousands of vapers across Canada. I will offer no opinion, nor will I make any conclusions. My comments, Mr. Chairman, are based on qualified research our organization has procured from clinical, legal, and public policy experts. That noted, Mr. Chairman, from its humble beginnings 6 years ago, vaping in Canada has grown exponentially. The number of vape product shops has grown throughout Canada, with the current estimate of retail outlets and manufacturing facilities numbering over 800, representing well over 5,000 employees, serving hundreds of thousands of customers, and generating over $350 million in revenue. Please understand, the growth of this industry has not been the result of expensive marketing campaigns. It has been a direct result of a substantial demand for these products by millions of smokers in Canada seeking an alternative to cigarettes. The vast majority of vape product shop owners, manufacturers of e-liquids, and advocates in Canada are, much like myself, former smokers who, having switched from smoking to vaping, realize the potential of the so-called disruptive technology and the benefits that vaping provides as a safer alternative to smoking. I would respectfully assert that our membership has taken substantial risks to pursue a mission very much aligned with Bill S-5. Many people would assert a different path of fighting government on what they believe is a right to vape. We believe that working with government on making this bill makes good sense. In many ways, we believe Canada is a role model for other countries in developing and implementing effective ways at reducing the harms of smoking, with Canada's smoke-free legislation being a cornerstone of that effort. Canada has taken on the mantle once again by implementing suitable and effective legislation that ensures adult smokers have access to products that can substantially reduce the harm that cigarette smoking is known to cause. We are pleased that Health Canada provided leadership at COP7 by not agreeing to prohibit vaping like the World Health Organization pressured so many other countries to do. To make a category in the bill for vaping is not only welcome, it creates an opportunity for Canada to regulate effectively, and we are looking forward to working with you to that end. Mr. Chairman, the CVA bases its thinking on our continued review of the growing body of evidence, including qualified literature, studies, and research on vaping, of which there is much. We are convinced that vaping is a better choice by orders of magnitude over smoking and has a potential for dramatically reducing the disease and death caused by smoking. The task of your committee, Mr. Chairman, is to review the debates and the intent of this legislation and deliberate on the bill with objectivity. We have met with several of your committee members in advance and offered our advice. To that end, we provide our considered and qualified amendments to the bill going forward. Let me explain. Recent studies in the aggregate have suggested that vaping is less harmful than smoking, and the Minister herself lifted her own CVA messaging in suggesting her media statement in November of last year, when the legislation was announced that science is catching up with vaping. On that point, Mr. Chairman, we would advise that the legislation include a mandatory 2-year review so that the science and research that is underway reaches lawmakers in a timely fashion such that you can regulate appropriately. With respect to regulation, we have been working closely with our Electronic Cigarette Trades Association and other educational organizations on the development and implementation of accreditation and certification programs on a national level. Let me explain. The patchwork of regulation from provincial legislation initiates across Canada has confounded the industry while it has waited for the milestone to occur. Bill S-5, Mr. Chairman, offers a national framework for retail and manufacturers of vape products. Because the CVA is the national voice for the industry, we have taken on the mantle to create standards on technology and products, all of which my colleague at ECTA has described to you in his presentation. With respect to health benefits, Mr. Chairman, evidence shows that e-cigarettes are an effective harm reduction tool. In fact, many clinical and academic experts will likely testify to that. I can say that the technology has improved over the years. Bill S-5 as written threatens the industry's ability to maximize the public health benefits of encouraging cigarette smokers to switch to less harmful e-cigarette technologies, and we urge the committee to look at amending this prohibition. We have provided alternative wording in our written submission. Mr. Chairman, in sections 30.48 and 30.49, the bill makes reference to flavors and identifies in Schedule 3 a list of flavor types about which there will be a prohibition on their promotion and possible manufacture. Mr. Chairman, it's ironic that for the very reason this bill has been initiated, to make vaping products more acceptable to smokers, to reduce harm, there is a prohibition on satisfying flavors to encourage it. It's baffling that the bill would lay out such prohibition when it's so obviously necessary to allow such flavors in helping smokers transition to vaping. Certainly, we can help at CVA by having the industry commit and submit through ECTA on a balance with respect to flavoring. For example, may I suggest that we in the industry need to be more innovative? And we will. A stark example is the flavor anise, which has similarities in taste to licorice and is satisfying to vapors, but it is not a confectionery. And we encourage the committee to look at further balance in this section of the bill, and CVA is more than available to assist Health Canada in that regard, and we have submitted a proposal to that end in our written submission. May I also take a moment, sir, to respectfully ask your committee to consider the establishment of an industry advisory committee. We have presented our proposal in our written submission, and I urge you to give it consideration. It is innovative and demonstrates our willingness to work alongside the regulators. And the CVA fully agrees that regulation is needed. However, the goal of these regulations should be to ensure that maximum benefits are realized while minimizing potential harms. We are concerned that Bill S5, as it is written, will have substantial impacts on an industry that is growing as an alternative to smoking and consequently the very constituents who seek to make a less harmful choice. The CVA wholeheartedly agrees that sales should be restricted to minors. We concede that restricting its use in public spaces is inevitable. We agree that certain lifestyle promotion or advertisements are not appropriate. Our amendments, we believe, ensure that youth are not able to access these products and that the use and acquisition of vaping tools is limited to public areas that minors are prohibited from entering. Additionally, these amendments would provide adult smokers with access to the assistance provided by qualified vape shop product employees, which can be crucial to the success of a smoker looking for an alternative to cigarettes. Vaping technology has catapulted in quality by leaps and bounds, Mr. Chairman. Research, too, has debunked the myths that have permeated mainstream media about vaping, and because the technology is getting better, vaping may prove yet to be an effective breakthrough in anti-smoking. I would hate to see the promise of this breakthrough dashed, marginalized, or even forced underground by what seems to be a crusade of misinformation about the effectiveness of vaping by those who, in our view, should be the champions for its effective and responsible use as a tool to get smokers off of harmful cigarettes altogether. I thank you for your attention. I look forward to your questions.